You're welcome to the program once again. I'm Arba Kumson. Join me for the next 20 minutes as we bring you all these and more. In our first story, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party is in the news again, not just because he's resumed campaigning this time in the northern region, but because of new promises he's been making. As you may recall, Akufo-Addo's earlier promise of constructing one factory in every district made huge headlines, and he was both criticized and commended for that. Well, as he takes his campaign to the Upper East region this week, he's promising his government would build a dam in every village in the 3 regions of the north. Shortly, we'll do some analysis on that. But let's get a quick update on his campaign today in Boku. Correspondent Albert Sorry joins us on the line. Good afternoon to you, Albert.
Good afternoon, Araba.
Albert, we know Boku for a long time has been associated with conflict between the 2 main factions there. We understand Addo has been meeting with traditional authorities there. What has he been telling them?
Araba, Addo says that contrary to speculations that he may be in support of one of the factions in this chieftaincy dispute in Boku, he doesn't have any interest at all. What he actually wants is for development of the area. And for that to happen, he's also interested in a peaceful Boku, so that if his government comes to power, then they can have the chance to develop the area in a peaceful atmosphere.
Mm. Now, you indicated that he said he is not affiliated to any of the factions there. You are on the ground there. Tell us, which of the factions is affiliated or perceived to be affiliated with the opposition MPP?
Well, the speculations usually are that the MPP has a lot of support in the main Boku township, and this is perceived to be mostly dominated by the Mampusi area. But during the tour, Addo has visited both areas. He's been to the Boku Nares Palace, and he's also going to make a call on the elders of the Mampusi area. And so that is his way of demonstrating that he doesn't have any interest or any bias against any of the factions at all.
And what else is he expected to do today with regards to his campaign?
He's just addressed a mini rally. It's a rally at Boku, but it appears that they are running out of time, so he didn't spend so much time there. He spent less than 5 minutes addressing the people, and again, he's reiterating his commitment to bring one factory to every district in Ghana. And he thinks that Boku is one of the places with a lot of industrial potential, where one of these factories can also be done. So he's begging the people.
Right. Albert, let's talk about the one dam per village, the promise he's recently made, which has become a talking point now with so many divergent views. What are the people in the area and the region as a whole saying about this? Because it's directly addressed to them.
Yes, well, there are people who think that this can be done. In fact, what he has insisted, and some of the members of his regional communications team this morning have been trying to explain that what they are trying to do is not necessarily have a very big dams in every area, but they can have small dams. In most of the villages, they have these small dams, which are not so big, so they can easily expand some of these ones and make them big enough to contain a lot of water where the farmers can use for irrigation farming. And so this is what they have been trying to explain to the people. There are people who think that there are so many villages in the Upper East region, and so to have a dam in every village will look very impossible. But the communicators for the MPP are insisting that this is possible. So the reactions to this are mixed, Araba.
All right, thank you very much. That's Upper East correspondent Albert Sorry there. Well, speaking of the latest promise, that's the one dam per village. We can listen to MPP flag bearer Akufo-Addo now.
As far as this part of the world is concerned, I want to go forward. Further, talk about one village, one dam, to make sure that in every village we have a functioning dam to support the agriculture and our growth. These things require planning and they require money.
Well, this policy has been criticized because of its feasibility and questions also about the cost involved and its associated plan for implementation. A senior lecturer at the Economics and Entrepreneurial Development Studies Department of UDS, Dr. Paul Kwame Nkegbe, told Joy FM Super Morning Show host Kojo Yankson the policy may be difficult to implement.
In the northern sector, people go several months without water. Irrigation is actually the way to go. But the truth is, we already have a lot of dams there, even though not enough, because we have distribution issues. They are not evenly distributed, so more will always be better, so that people can continue to ply their trade. But the problem with the current ones, indeed, is lack of maintenance. Now, if we maintain what we have, we should be able to serve a lot of other areas. If he says one dam, one village, small dams, because the truth is, if you're actually going into large-scale dam, one dam can serve several villages. It will be superfluous to construct a dam everywhere. In actual sense, it's not feasible. The cost of constructing a dam is so prohibitive that it might not be feasible for us to want to do that at every single village.
Well, the minority spokesperson on agriculture and MP for Akufo-Addo, Dr. Akufo-Addo, has defended the policy, but he failed to give details of which communities need the dams and the cost assessment.
The whole idea about the one village, one dam is that we have what we call the large-scale dams. Then you have the small community dams. What Addo is talking about is the small community dams for each village. And you know, in Ghana, we are blessed with a water table underground, which is very close to the ground. So you don't have to dig so deep in order to reach water. A lot of it will be boreholes with submersible pumps to bring the water up so that the water can be available 12 months in a year to supplement the rainy season in the north.
How much is going to cost, first of all, to establish these dams?
I know from my experience in Akufo-Addo, digging a submersible pump, a submersible borehole, that it won't cost you more than 50,000 cedis to construct one. It's a low cost but strategically very effective means of promoting agriculture.
How many villages does the NPP anticipate are in that particular area?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't have any.
You are the party's chairman of the Agriculture Sector Committee, and you're saying that you made this promise without knowing how many villages?
We are going to expand that system to ensure that every village has it. And as I'm saying, if the people are demanding that they need such a facility in order for them to prosper, then of course it should be the priority. This is community driven.
Now, the opposition NPP can prepare for a double dose of what the governing NDC says are the insults against its flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. The governing party says it will not countenance any insults on President Mahama by their main opponents as the campaign heats up. Addressing a rally in the central region over the weekend, Vice President Pakwesi Emisa Arthur said the NDC is ready to meet the NPP boot for boot if their style of campaigning does not change. Listen.
The Henry, a Hubana Warsen, a young Kevin, near the Yatanhopa, the Yajma, Nayajma, Wakakura, and Kabi, Wakabian and Kebi, Nasisia, Pindarquan, Wakakura, Yabakabi, Wakakura, Yabakabian, Nazayan, or Dawson, and Mahaway, Tama, Yamahan, Moba, Bernamun, and the only Mersam are Otto Debian.
So that's Vice President Pakwesi Sir Arthur They're saying that they're going to match the NPP boot for boot if they insult their flag bearer. Well, given the caution by state institutions and governance experts about the need for politicians to sanitize their language as the December polls approach, is this the way to go? That's the question we put to NDC campaign coordinator Akufo-Addo.
Yes, I think the Vice President was very clear that we have worked much more in 4 years than they did in 8 years, and that our record is so clear, and that if they talked one, we will talk 2, 3, 4. The Vice President is talking about issue-based, work-based, delivery-based, and that those who decide to make insults their issues and come back to accuse others must watch their tongues, because we would respond with what it is that we have done in the 4 years. And that in the past...
But again, listening to him, he didn't say they'll respond with what they've done in 4 years. He was quite emphatic that if you insult us one, we'll give you back 2. Is that what we should be doing at a time like this?
They've been peddling falsehood. Bawumia has been going out there saying all kinds of lies, talking about government debt, and has not received a response from the highest level. What the Vice President is saying is that now we are entering that period. If those lies continue, we will respond with the facts, because we have done a lot more work in 4 years than they did in 8 years. So they should stop the politics of insult. They have done that enough. Now we are entering a period where the senior persons also with facts will confront them. The lies is enough. They either learn to put the lies aside and let's deal with the issues. Let's deal with the development things that we have done. And our record is so clear that 4 years of delivery is far more than the 8 years that they've had an opportunity, and they must stop.
People's Party now, and the party is defending its flag bearer's promise of cultivating almond trees as a means of generating revenue for the state if he's elected. Ivor Greenstreet told a gathering at the Institute of Economic Affairs evening encounter that if elected, his government would engage in cultivation of almond, popularly known as Abrofun Katie, and he was emphatic it would rake in millions. But a latest research by think tank Imani Ghana questioned its feasibility. The party is insistent adequate research was done. Communications Director of the party, Kadri, joins us on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Araba. Good
now,
afternoon,
you may have... All right. You may have heard what the Imani Ghana said about your party's proposal to cultivate almond trees. I quote them. They're saying that it would take more than 100 years and half of the land mass in Ghana to actually bring this to life.
Well, first of all, let me state very emphatically that the Convention People's Party take a very great exception to that, research that was done by Imani. In fact, we are of the view that that work was not meticulous. They actually didn't do their work in detail. If they had done, they would have easily, confirmed the possibility of what we have just said. Now, let me start also by making a clear statement to the effect that as we see today, we in the Convention People's Party have done a very meticulous research concerning the practicability of the Abrofun Katie, otherwise known as the almond tree. And then our research has shown that given the land that is lying fallow and virgin across the length and breadth of the country, we are very positive that through our agricultural policy of intensification, we can bring all these, idle virgin land into productive use. And now our research has also shown that in the past 100 years, Ghana has been in cocoa production. And in the past 50 to 60 years, cocoa price at the international market has not exceeded $3,000. So what this means is that over the years, our export has not been given realistic prices. Now, the Convention People's Party has said to our flag bearer that we are going to explore niche markets. And in this country, there are other commodities that we can think of, the shea nut, and then the almond, and other many more, commodities. And then our research zeroes on the almond. And we have actually found out from our research that in the per liter has always traded between $10 and $14 at the international market. And what this means is that in the last 10 years, it has not dropped below $10. Now we have a land, surface in this country that we could use to be able to cultivate up to, 30 million, barrels of almond oil. Now, doing simple mathematics, we are saying that if in the international market in the last 10 years it has not fallen below $10, per liter, and now we would even want to peg it at $10, and we are able to cultivate about 30 million liters. Potentially, our economy is capable of generating $300 billion, and this is no joke. We are very, very serious, and we have indicated how it's going to be done. It's going to be done through our policy of agriculture intensification. What this means is that the lands that have already been put into use, we are going to use those same lands for that purposes, and we also arrest the idle virgin lands for this purpose. And now, Araba, if you actually know anything about almond, you would know that almond has a very good yield. It has very
sorry to interrupt you, but have you costed how much it will take to make this a reality, and how much land mass would it take?
We would need about 4 million hectares in order to be able to generate up to 30 million, liters of oil.
And are those 4 million hectares available today, readily available now?
They are. That is why we are saying through a policy of intensification. What it means is that we have already used, part of the land for other purposes. But through intensification, those lands that are used for those purposes, we could use that same land for, growing almond and trees across the length and breadth of the country. And one thing I have to stress about the almond tree is that practically it can grow in every part of the country, from the north to the south. All the ecological zones of the country can support the growth of almond tree. So we are saying that, for example, under IKEA Chamber, we all saw that when the state is committed, to a certain project, and then you have a leader who is visionary and committed, that project can come into reality. Under IKEA Chamber, for the first time in the history of the country, Northern Ghana experienced, the economy of Ghana experienced economic miracle. And Northern Ghana alone was able to cultivate rice to feed the whole of Ghana and for export. If people like Imani were to be there in the 1970s, they would have said that it is not possible for Northern Ghana alone to cultivate rice to feed the whole of the country. And you know that it was only made possible in two valleys, the Katanga Valley around Bambla and the Fumbisi Valley in Upper East. These two valleys were able to cultivate rice to feed the whole country. And as we see, those valleys are still there and they are not put into use. And we are saying that when CPP comes into power, we are going to ensure that we use all those lands. And then we will even, apart from intensification, there is another policy of extensification.
All right. That's all time will permit us for this. So thank you very much. That's Communications Director of the CPP, Abdul Rauf Kadri. Thank you very much for your time. You're watching Election Brief. Now, exactly 3 years ago today, the Supreme Court dismissed the election petition on the conduct of the 2012 presidential elections. 3 cardinal issues: no signature of presiding officer, no biometric verification of voters, and overvoting determined the judgment. Since the court dismissed the petition, there's been a huge debate as to whether parties to future electoral disputes will shun the courts and resolve such challenges at their respective polling stations. 3 years down the line, and after a lot of back and forth on how to ensure the nation no longer holds disputed elections, the Electoral Commission settled on some 27 reforms it hopes will improve the credibility of the polls. But with 99 days to go to the election, is the Commission adequately prepared? Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me with some perspective. Evans, so 99 days to go to the elections. We don't even get a sense that, an election is approaching. But really, would you say the Electoral Commission is prepared?
Well, if you listen to the Electoral Commission, the chairperson, she sounds pretty prepared for elections, but there are a lot of things going to elections. So we're now talking about the voters register. Last week, Friday, an opportunity was created for people to register. We all know how that went.
The continuous registration.
Absolutely. That is a process that is ongoing. With 99 days, you have to clearly have a certain set date for when you now consolidate your voters register, and then there's a set date within which time you need to give a finalized copy to the parties. That is one of the key areas, I guess, where we are running out of time in terms of doing. The Electoral Commission says they're on top of that, they have time to do that. So that's one. We'll wait to see how that pans out. But also, we've seen about the functionality of some of the machines in many, many areas, and they want the Electoral Commission to indicate clearly what happens, set a procedure, what happens when a machine is faulty, how do you replace it.
Because that is likely to come up during the election.
Absolutely, that needs to be settled. And so there are many, many questions that still need to be answered to convince a lot more people that the Electoral Commission is really ready for the elections. The EC says they are, but if you look at the facts, they're still, and guess what would have happened if we were holding elections in November? That's the original plan, okay? We would have been 2 months to the elections, and these registrations will still be ongoing. People expect their name to be in the voters register. When are you going to finish and consolidate the register and get it ready for the parties to have a look at? Logistically, we know money has been a problem. Government has not released all the funds to the EC yet. That's also another key thing. The EC training of its workers, transporting and printing of ballots, it takes a lot of money to do. Right. When will government release the monies? When will they have it to start the preparation in terms of mobilizing logistics for the election?
Key questions that need answers. Thank you very much. And that's head of our political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah. Now remember, this is your election headquarters, and we will be bringing you the best coverage of events from now till the winner of the 2016 polls is announced and sworn into office. Join us on television, radio, online, and via mobile as we deliver to you the most current and up-to-minute election-related stories. Be a part of our political discourse with the hashtag